Welcome, you're watching Head to Head. I'm Antonina Antosha with UATV. The first case in Special Counsel Robert Mueller's probe into Russia's interference in 2016 U.S. presidential election has kicked off this week. Paul Manafort, President Trump's former campaign manager, is on trial on charges related to financial crime and money laundering. In particular, Manafort's work in Ukraine is under scrutiny as he earned an estimated $60 million as a political consultant for Viktor Yanukovych, Ukraine's former president, and his political party. To talk more about this, we welcome in the studio today Vitalii Vlasyuk. He's an expert at KyivStratPro group. Hello, and thank you for joining us.
Hello.
So, first of all, let's clarify the whole Manafort case, because it looks really complex. We have money laundering, we have bank fraud, we have tax avoidance, then we have illegal consultants provided to Ukraine's ousted President Viktor Yanukovych and his political party. And also we have the allegations of Russia meddling into the U.S. presidential 2016 elections. Which are the main things, which are the main allegations here, and which are not?
I think the main allegations here is possible Russians intervention into the elections of the U.S. president in 2016, and the major issue is concerned right with Ukraine. The allegations Paul Manafort has already faced. First of all, concerned are related to Ukraine, to his job for Mr. Yanukovych, ex-president of Ukraine.
Is the fact that the investigation on the allegations of Manafort being a part of Russia's meddling into the 2016 U.S. presidential election, and the fact that he is also accused of money laundering, the investigation is being conducted by the same investigators. Looks like the allegations of bank fraud and tax avoidance is just a little step into the bigger case of, as you have already mentioned, the Russia's meddling into the elections.
I think you're right. I think you're right, because that's just first steps Mueller has taken, and I think he is leading to his major goal, and his major goal is not Trump, but the way how Mr. Trump became a president of the United States. So that's just a first part of his investigation, and I think he's going to have whether he's going to have Mr. Manafort's some testimony, or he's going to get some facts in the court hearings.
All right. Well, Manafort's lawyer said that while working for Viktor Yanukovych and his political party, Paul Manafort didn't mean any harm, and certainly didn't think that he would end up on a court trial. Instead, he wanted to bring Ukraine closer to European democracies. Could you comment?
That's very common. No one is going to mean something bad. But Mr. Manafort at least was not honest in what relates to his money, to the money he were getting from Mr. Yanukovych, from the party of region. So that's I mean that's the first step where he started to lie, and his right-hand man, Bruce, if I'm correct, his ex-partner in his business, he is now already indicted in lying to FBI. That's very bad for him, because that's a federal crime, that's obstruction of justice, and that means he is going to face very, very serious problems.
Harsh trial.
Yeah.
The history, the world history doesn't know any analogs of a similar trial. We never had anything like that before. Because of that, is there any possibilities that we could somehow predict the verdict, or tell when the trial is going to be over? What's going to be the outcome?
Lawyers never trying to predict the verdict. I can see some pro and contras in that trial. I can see some strong, some advantages for both sides. But I think that in the United States they are not just opening criminal proceedings if they have no ground for that. So I believe Mr. Manafort and his lawyers, they're in turbulence now.
All right, in general, what does a huge trial like that mean for the United States, first of all, for Ukraine, and for the whole political arena in the world?
I think for the United States, that's just another proof that in the United States there is democracy, and that even if you are president, even if you are the president of the United States, or even if you were at least very close to him, there are no guarantees you'll avoid justice. And in the global scale, that means that Mr. Trump, his reputation is now in bad shape.
Already?
Yep, already. And that means that he'll face some problems in international relations as well. For Ukraine, will be last in that row because Ukraine is too small in that scale, and I'm not sure when they talk about Ukraine they mean something more than just another source of dirty money.
Well, still, speaking about Ukraine, there is information that 3 months after the Revolution of Dignity started and people were dying on Maidan, Paul Manafort offered his services to the current mayor of Ukraine's capital, Vitalii Klitschko, and for some reason the cooperation didn't happen.
I even heard gossips that also he really liked to see among his clients Mr. Petro Poroshenko, the current president of Ukraine. I cannot tell you more about that gossips, but
no, that wasn't the interview.
Just his business.
Vitalii Klitschko even commented on it to BBC, saying that the proposals, the offers that Paul Manafort voiced to him were not new, so there was nothing new about them.
If Paul Manafort were an advocate, I would say that you always must keep distance between the case and between the client and between the lawyer. But Paul Manafort is not an advocate; he is a consultant. So I would not have some business with him after such a trial, which is now on.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you
for clarifying that for us. That was Vitalii Vlasyuk. He's an expert at KyivStratPro Group. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned with UATV for the rest.